Welcome to the hidden corners where truth and terror collide. Discover a realm where the lines between the living and the supernatural blur as you embark on a journey to the paranormal and visit the mysterious hidden corners of your mind.
Welcome to the Wolfman Chronicles. This is Chapter 5 of Book 8, which makes it Episode 95. Cambodia, the Hunter and the Hunted. The heat pressed down like a weight as Jack and the others crouched in the shadows of the riang trees, sweat dripping from their brows as they scanned the crumbling shell of the abandoned rice mill and the warehouse just beyond the clearing. Tall grass swayed gently around them, whispering in the breeze that rolled in from the Tonle Sap lake. The building looked deserted. Its roof was half collapsed. The walls were streaked with mold and age. But Dara's voice crackled in Alexi's earpiece with certainty. He's inside. We've seen him come and go twice. Never alone. I'm sure the next transport is being arranged from this location. Dara sat in the safe confines of her office in front of a large monitor, zoomed in on grainy footage from a drone that was circling high over the warehouse. There's at least 5 armed men on the perimeter, probably more of them inside, and I count 2 trucks backed up to the rear loading dock. No license plates. Alexei clenched his fists. He's getting ready to move them. Well, Jack scanned the compound through a pair of field binoculars. This must be the staging point. He's using it to collect and sort the girls before shipping them out. Alexei said firmly, "We want eyes on Kamarov, but we don't go in guns a-blazing. Remember, our objective is to gather evidence and recover the girls safely. If we spook them, they might scatter, or worse." They left the van hidden in the dense trees and slipped silently through the underbrush, the oppressive silence of the countryside amplifying the tensions in their chest. Every single snap of a twig sounded like thunder. The closer they drew to the warehouse, the more the unease settled into their bones. Somewhere beyond those broken walls, girls were being held. Lives hung in the balance. And before this night ended, Viktor Kamarov would know that he was being hunted. They waited just till the sun dipped below the horizon, bathing the landscape in a haze of gold and crimson, before they moved in closer. The old rice mill loomed in silhouette, its jagged edges cutting into the sky like broken teeth. Alexei crouched low, motioning for the others to stop. From here, they had a clear view of the rear loading area. The 2 trucks remained idle, inches off, but a figure moved near them, tall, broad-shouldered, unmistakably Kamarov. He was speaking to someone, animated, angry. The fury in his gestures was clear. Dara whispered through the calm. "Our drone camera caught brief footage of the girls, maybe 10 of them. They're being held in a storage room near the back entrance, by the loading docks. I've marked the location. Most likely they're waiting for more to show up. Watch your backs." Alexei replied, "We'll go in under the cover of darkness, Dara. I want you to loop the surveillance feed for 3 minutes. Just enough time for the 5 of us to get inside and take position. We'll coordinate the takedown once we're all secure." 3 minutes. Understood. Boy, the minutes crawled. At this time of year, sunset was at 6:33 p.m. And at exactly 6:57 p.m., the signal from the cameras glitched and then froze. "Now," Alexei said. They all moved fast. Slipping past the broken fence line, they entered through a rusted side door Alexei had scouted earlier. Inside, the smell of mildew and engine oil hit him hard. Jack led, following Dara's digital map, down a corridor choked with crates and broken machinery. Voices echoed faintly above them. Men playing cards, unaware of the intruders in their midst. Alexei stayed at the side entrance, guarding both the stairwell that led to the upstairs rooms and the door that they were going to have to exit through. The others reached the door to the room where the girls were being held. Jack forced it open with a soft click. Inside, the air was heavy with fear. 10 pairs of wide eyes turned towards them, too afraid to utter a word. "It's okay," Nadia whispered, kneeling beside the nearest girl. "We're here to help. We are going to get you out of here." McGill and Jillian herded the group quickly, towards the side exit door. Jack and Nadia flanked them, covering every angle. The girls moved like shadows, silent and obedient, their fear palpable. As they reached the door near where Alexei stood cover, Dara's voice came over the comm again. "They're moving. Komarov's walking towards the trucks. You've got less than 60 seconds. Then, footsteps on the stair, and a shout. "We've been seen," Alexei growled. "Move!" Gunfire erupted from the stairwell, and Alexei laid down cover fire, pulling attention away from the others as they escaped through the door, running towards the dense trees. Jack urged the girls forward as bullets hit the dirt all around. Julian swung the van doors open. "Get in! Go! Go!" And one by one the girls piled in, shaking, clutching each other. Nadia helped the last two inside as Miguel took the driver's seat and gunned the engine. "Jack!" she yelled, but Jack was already running back towards the old rice mill. He wasn't going to leave Alexei behind. Nadia tried to break free, but Julian held her tightly. "Let's get these girls out of here. We'll come back for Jack. He knows how to take care of himself." The van sped away towards Siem Reap, leaving Jack and Alexei behind. Kamarov emerged from the back of the building, eyes wide with rage as he heard the van peeling away. He realized instantly just what was going on. He raised a pistol and shot into the trees in the direction of the van, and he didn't see Jack running straight at him. With tremendous impact, Jack slammed his body into Kamarov, and the two men fought, each trying to get the upper hand. Jack knocked the gun away, and it flew several feet into the bushes. Kamarov howled in pain as Jack's fangs sank deep into his shoulder, tearing through muscle and sinew. The Russian's eyes went wide, not with fear, but with shock and confusion as he tried to comprehend what was happening. Jack could smell the blood now, hot and iron-rich, and he could feel his heart pounding with the wild beast inside of him, demanding to be set free. Jack could barely think. Every instinct told him to finish it, now, tear him apart, rip the monster from limb to limb. He heard the bullet before it hit. It came whizzing straight for him, and before he could react, a tearing sensation knocked his shoulder back. And with a roar, Jack forced himself to pull away, his mouth slick with blood, the pain in his right shoulder burning like fire. He staggered back, chest heaving, hands trembling. His eyes were flickering yellow in the dim moonlight. Kamarov lay groaning in the dirt, clutching his shredded shoulder. In a flash of an instant, Jack spun around towards the guard as more shots were fired. With a leap, he was on the man, tearing a huge gash out of his neck. It was quick work to finish him off, but as he turned back towards Kamarov, he watched him disappear behind a shipping container, still gripping his shoulder. "You can't hide from me, Kamarov," he yelled, clutching his blood-soaked shoulder. "I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth." Jack's voice was half snarl, half human, barely more than a growl in the dark, but every syllable dripped with fury. The scent of blood was everywhere, both Kamarov's and his own. He could still taste it, the coppery tang of the man's flesh lingering on his tongue, threatening to pull him deeper into the beast. The wolf was clawing its way up from the inside, howling for dominance. Took a shaky breath, trying to steady himself, trying not to shift. Behind the container, Jack could hear Kamarov dragging himself away, wounded, but not done. The Russian was a survivor, a predator, but so was Jack, and tonight, one of them wasn't going to walk away. Jack moved fast, crouching low, teeth gritted against the pain in his shoulder. He could feel the hot trickle of blood soaking his shirt. The bullet still lodged somewhere deep in the muscle, but adrenaline pushed him forward. He rounded the corner. Nothing but empty crates and broken pallets. A rusted oil drum lay on its side. Then a movement. Jack lunged and found himself slammed hard into the metal wall of a shipping container. Kamarov had doubled back, grabbing a length of pipe from the ground, and now swung it again with vicious intent. Jack ducked the second blow, caught the third, and twisted it from Kamarov's hands. The two locked eyes. Kamarov's face was pale with blood loss, sweat pouring down his forehead. His left arm hung useless, mangled from Jack's bite. But his right hand darted to his belt, and Jack saw the glint of steel just before the blade flashed. The knife sliced across Jack's ribs, and pain flared white hot. But this time, the wolf couldn't stay buried. Jack growled deep in his throat. His fingers clawed at the air. The yellow glow in his eyes turned molten. Kamarov stepped back, suddenly unaware of what he was seeing. What are you?" he gasped. Jack didn't answer. Instead, he dropped the pipe and just let the change take him. Bones shifted, muscles expanded, skin stretched and bristled. His roar echoed through the abandoned rice mill like thunder. Jack was no longer a man. He was the reckoning. Kamarov turned to run, but there was nowhere left to go. He staggered backwards, slipping on the blood-slicked concrete as Jack, the thing that had been Jack, stalked forward with slow, deliberate steps. The beast's massive paws crunching debris beneath them. Moonlight caught on its black fur, glinting off the wet crimson stains that still dripped from its fangs. "You can't be real," Kamarov whispered, eyes wide, face twisted in horror. But Jack wasn't listening. Not anymore. The man was submerged beneath layers of muscle and rage and justice. Justice for the girls, for the blood spilled, for every shattered life left in Kamarov's wake. Kamarov turned and sprinted for a ladder that led to a rusted catwalk above. He climbed fast, breathing raggedly, gripping each rung with his one good hand, the other hanging useless and mangled at his side. Jack leapt, his claws scraping metal, but missed by inches. The ladder groaned as Kamarov hauled himself up and stumbled across the catwalk towards the far end of the warehouse. Jack gave chase, bounding up a pile of old crates, clawing his way up the side of a support beam with terrifying speed. Kamarov reached the edge. There was nowhere left to go. A 30-foot drop gaped below him. Scrap metal, jagged wood, and black shadows. He turned just in time to see Jack launch through the air. The two collided with bone-jarring force, slamming into the catwalk railing. It gave way with a loud crack, and both men plummeted into the void. They hit the ground hard. Jack rolled and came up fast, his body rippling between wolf and man, breathing heavily, bloodied chest rising and falling. Kamarov didn't rise. He lay sprawled among the wreckage, gasping, ribs crushed, legs bent at an unnatural angle. Jack staggered toward him, still trembling with the last echoes of the shift. Go ahead, Kamarov coughed, blood bubbling at the corner of his mouth. Finish it. Jack crouched beside him. His fangs were inches from the man's throat. But he didn't strike. He didn't need to. The broken piece of pipe sticking up through Kamarov's chest would do the deed for him. He watched as Kamarov's breath grew weak, then stopped altogether. Jack stood, eyes locked on the broken man as the distant sound of sirens came even closer. Jack limped towards the warehouse door, blood dripping from his side. His shoulder throbbed. His ribs screamed, but the fight was over. Viktor Kamarov would never hurt another girl again. And for the first time in days, Jack let himself breathe. Alexei stood just inside the cavernous space, blood seeping through the sleeve of his shirt where a bullet had grazed his upper arm. He gritted his teeth, his sidearm steady as he aimed it at the two terrified guards kneeling in front of him. Their weapons had been kicked aside, their faces slick with sweat. He could hear the distant wail of approaching sirens. The local police, tipped off by Dara's team, but they were still minutes out, and a lot could happen in a few minutes. One of the guards whimpered something in Khmer. Alexei silenced him with a sharp bark. Shut up, you don't get to talk. He stepped closer, his good arm raised, pistol unwavering. Where's Kamarov? No answer, just fearful eyes and the sound of dripping water from a broken pipe nearby. The warehouse door creaked open behind him. Alexei spun around, weapon raised. A figure stood in the shadows, hulking, silent, breathing heavily. Who's there? Alexei barked. Jack? The figure stepped back, just enough to stay hidden in the shadows. Alexei could smell the blood in the air, coppery, fresh, and heavy. Jack, he said again, his voice lower, more cautious. From the darkness, Jack's voice came, rough, strained, almost not human. I'm here. Alexei lowered his gun slightly. Where's Kamarov? A long silence. Then Jack emerged, just enough for the dim light to catch part of his face, and the blood smeared across his jaw, his shirt torn and soaked through at the shoulder. His eyes burned gold, glowing faintly in the dark. Alexei's breath caught in his throat. He didn't speak. He couldn't. He just stared. Not in fear, but in something closer to disbelief and recognition. Like a secret had just been confirmed. Jack looked away. Kamarov's gone, he said. He stepped past Alexei, deeper into the warehouse shadows, his voice low and distant. Alexei looked back towards the two guards and the flashing blue lights now visible through the cracks in the wall. He holstered his weapon, never taking his eyes off the dark corner Jack had vanished into. Miguel gripped the steering wheel tightly as the van sped down that dusty rural road, the trees blurring past in streaks of green and shadow. The silence inside was heavy with tension. Nadia sat in the back seat staring out the window, fingers fidgeting with the strap of her bag. Julian, riding shotgun, kept checking his phone, looking for updates from Alexei. But there was nothing, just silence. I should have stayed, Miguel muttered, eyes fixed on the road ahead. No, you did the right thing, Julian said, though his voice lacked conviction. We had to get those girls out. Jack knew what he was doing. Nadia leaned forward. Jack's strong, but if he shifted, if he lost control, well, the rest went unspoken. They all knew what was at stake. Not just Jack's life, but the secret he carried. The secret that they were all protecting. If anyone saw him in wolf form, it would change everything. As the van crested the final rise, they saw the warehouse looming ahead, shrouded in moonlight and jungle shadow. The front gate hung open, swaying in the breeze. The red and the blue pulsing lights of the police cars cast an eerie glow through the trees. Nadia had the side door open and was out of the van before it even came to a full stop. Miguel followed, motioning for Nadia to stay back, but she ignored him, already racing toward the entrance where Alexei stood with several officers. "Where's Jack?" she yelled as a police officer grabbed at her, pulling her back. Alexei shook his head, giving her a look that said hush, and glanced toward the police officers. Nadia understood immediately. As the bodies of Kamarov and the dead guards were loaded onto waiting stretchers, sheets pulled over their faces, Alexei led Nadia inside where they could speak freely. "Jack is inside, but he's hiding. Let the police get the place cleared before you—" He didn't need to say more. She understood his unspoken words. Well, when the final police car pulled away, Nadia crept inside, followed by Miguel, while Julian and Alexei waited by the van. "Jack!" Nadia called out, her voice echoing through the cavernous space. From behind a stack of pallets, a figure emerged, limping heavily. Blood soaked his shirt, and his right shoulder hung at an awkward angle. But he was alive. Bruised, wounded, but alive. Miguel was at his side in seconds. "You look like hell." Jack gave him a weak grin. Nadia threw her arms around him, careful not to grab a hold of his shoulder. "You did it, Jack." Jack nodded grimly. "Kamarov's done. He's not going anywhere. Well, that's only one of the monsters." Jack leaned against Miguel for support, and together they stepped out into the night. Alexei stood stiffly near the back of the van, the early light of dawn barely breaking over the horizon. Sirens had faded into the distance. Police had come and gone. The girls were safe. The warehouse was clear. On the surface, the mission was a success. But Alexei wasn't celebrating. He stared, unmoving, as Jack limped closer, his arm draped across Miguel's shoulder for support. Nadia hovered on the other side, steadying him. Julian opened the van door quickly, but Alexei's focus never wavered. Jack's clothes were shredded, ripped beyond recognition, his shirt hanging in bloodied strips from his chest and his shoulders. Dirt and ash clung to his skin, but it was the raw, golden glint in his eyes that froze Alexei in place. He looked wild, unnatural. His body still wore the remnants of something feral. Sinew and muscle stretched just a little too tight. Veins raised just a little too far beneath his skin. Alexei swallowed, his throat suddenly dry. He'd seen plenty of things in his life. He'd seen spies, killers, gangsters, monsters of the human variety. But nothing like this. Nothing that blurred the line between man and beast. And yet, when Jack looked up and met his eyes, there was no menace, only weariness, pain, and a silent plea not to ask. Not yet. Alexei blinked, heart pounding in his chest. He watched Jack disappear into the van with Nadia close behind, the door sliding shut with a soft metallic thunk. Alexei took a breath, then another. He lit a cigarette with shaking fingers and exhaled slowly. "I don't know what you are," he muttered, watching the smoke drift upward into the morning haze. "But I'm glad you're on our side." Back at the safe house, Dara sat hunched over the console, the glow of the monitor washing across her face. The drone's camera zoomed in on the chaos unfolding at the abandoned rice mill. Her fingers gripped the edge of the desk as she watched the brutal fight between Jack and Viktor Kamarov. Dust kicked up around him, blood stained the dirt. The camera feed crackled slightly. the drone hovering slightly above the scene, capturing every frame in eerie night vision. Dara's hand moved to the control stick as she tracked Jack's every movement. He was stalking through the shadows now, low to the ground, moving like a wild animal. Muscles coiled, eyes scanning for Kamarov. She zoomed in closer. She let out a gasp as Jack lunged, something inhuman about the way he moved, and then she saw it. The impossible. The transformation. Jack's fingers twisted, rippling with raw muscle and unnatural power. His hands curled into claws, his eyes blazed gold, fangs bared, fur bristled across his arms. A wolf, a man, a force of nature. Dara's breath caught in her throat, her heart pounded. "Oh, my word," she whispered. "It's true." Shock gave way to wonder, and then calculation. This changed everything. Not just the mission, not just Jack. It changed everything, the whole world. She'd spent years trying to fight trafficking rings with brains, courage, and whatever tech and manpower she could scrape together. But now she had something more. A secret weapon, an unstoppable ally. Her eyes never left the screen, the reflection of the wolf shimmering in her wide, stunned gaze. "You're not just a hero, Jack," she murmured. "You're a miracle, and you don't even know it yet." With a deep breath, Dara leaned forward and whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning. This is how we change the world."
Thank you for listening to this week's episode, and I hope you'll join us next week for another installment of the Wolfman Chronicles. And until then, have a great week, everyone.
Anything you could raise around here? The mosquitoes.
Oh my God, it's the mosquitoes.
These damn mosquitoes.
They are off to hunt mosquitoes.
Mosquito's a clever little bastard. There's nothing more dangerous than a wounded mosquito.
Mosquito.
Yeah.
No, Rose, I just killed a mosquito on your cheek.
Don't let the itch drive you mad. BH Stop Bite and Sting Relief is your go-to solution to soothe your itchy, painful mosquito bites, bee and wasp stings, poison oak or poison ivy, or anything that scratches at your sanity. Get yours today right here on the Hidden Corners.
I'll take it.